When Elena Evans was born in Willow Creek Hospital, the midwife almost dropped her in shock. Unlike other babies, Elena didn't cry sharply. Her sound came like a melody, soft and strangely comforting. Nurses paused their work just to listen. One of them whispered, "This child's voice is not ordinary. It's like a songbird." Her mother, Mary, held her close with tears in her eyes and said to her husband, Richard, "Our daughter is special. I feel it." From that moment, they knew Elena's life would be unlike any other. By the age of 6, Elena was already the star of her small church choir. Whenever she sang hymns, the congregation fell silent, and even restless children stopped fidgeting. Pastor James would smile and say, "When Elena sings, heaven opens a little." People from neighboring towns began to attend Sunday service just to hear her. But though people admired her, Elena didn't understand why her singing felt different. To her, it was just the most natural thing in the world. At school, Elena's classmates treated her differently. Some loved her and begged her to sing during break. Others whispered unkind words, saying she was showing off. One girl, Hannah, often mocked, "Oh, here comes the angel. Maybe she'll sing us all to sleep." Elena never fought back. Instead, she would smile faintly and whisper to herself, "One day they will know." That quiet strength made her even more mysterious. Mary Evans was more than a mother. She was Elena's guide. One evening, as Elena hummed while washing dishes, Mary said softly, "Elena, your voice is not just music. It heals, it comforts, it brings hope. Never waste it." Elena asked, "But Mama, what if people laugh at me?" Mary touched her daughter's chin gently and said, "Sing for those who need it, not those who mock you." That lesson stayed with Elena for life. When Elena turned 14, the town hosted its annual talent show. Teenagers performed, dancers, drummers, magicians, and singers. Elena was painfully shy, but her father encouraged her. "The world needs to hear you, Elena. Don't hide." Shaking with nerves, she stepped onto the stage. She closed her eyes and sang. Her voice rose like a wave, clear and powerful, carrying every heart in the room. By the end, tears streamed down the audience's faces, and applause shook the hall. Elena won first place without question. After the competition, strangers began approaching her parents. Music teachers offered to train her for free. Churches invited her for special programs. Even a small radio station in a nearby city wanted her to sing live. Elena, though, stayed humble. She still helped her mother cook, still swept the porch, and still sang lullabies to her little brother Samuel at night. Fame excited her, but it didn't change her. One afternoon, a man in a shiny suit visited Willow Creek. He introduced himself as Mr. Blake, a music producer. "Elena, with me, you'll be famous beyond this town. I'll make you a star," he promised. But his songs were not the kind Elena wanted to sing. They were shallow, filled with vanity and selfishness. When she hesitated, he frowned. "Don't waste your gift on churches and hospitals. Use it to make money." Elena lifted her chin and replied firmly, "My voice is not for sale." Word spread about Elena's rejection of Mr. Blake. Some children at school mocked her even more. "So you think you're too holy for real music?" Hannah sneered. Elena stayed silent, but inside she felt hurt. At night, she cried quietly into her pillow. Her father noticed and told her gently, "Every gift will be tested. If you give up now, you'll never shine." Encouraged, Elena dried her tears and promised herself never to stop singing. One day, Pastor James asked Elena to sing at the town hospital. A little boy named Daniel had been sick for months, refusing to eat or smile. When Elena sang beside his bed, his eyes lit up for the first time. He whispered, "Your voice feels warm, like the sun." His mother burst into tears. From then on, people began calling Elena the girl who heals with her voice. She realized her mother had been right. Her singing was more than sound, it carried hope. By 16, Elena's name had spread beyond Willow Creek. Invitations came from cities she had never visited. But Elena wasn't chasing fame, she was chasing purpose. One evening, as she sat on the porch watching the stars, she whispered a prayer, "Lord, let my voice never bring pride to me but peace to others." She didn't know it yet, but her journey was only beginning. Bigger stages, greater trials, and deeper lessons awaited her. Willow Creek held its annual Festival of Lights, where townsfolk decorated the streets with lanterns and music filled the air. Elena was asked to perform. Nervous but excited, she stepped onto the stage as fireworks glittered above. She sang a hymn of hope so moving that people dropped their lanterns to clap. A woman whispered, "Her voice is like fire and water together, powerful yet soothing." Elena blushed shyly, not knowing that someone important was watching her from the crowd. After her performance, a tall man approached her parents. "I'm Mr. Collins, a choir director from the city. Your daughter has a gift. I'd like to train her further." Richard looked cautious. "We've had offers before." Mr. Collins smiled warmly. "I don't want to exploit her. I want to nurture her." Elena listened quietly, unsure if this was her next step or another trap. After days of prayer and discussion, Elena agreed to join Mr. Collins' choir for a 3-month trial in the city. On the morning she left, Samuel clung to her hand. "Promise you'll sing for me when you come back?" Elena knelt down and kissed his forehead. "I promise. No matter where I go, my voice will always belong to you too." Mary handed her a small cross necklace. "This will remind you of who you are." Elena wiped her tears as the bus carried her away. The city was nothing like Willow Creek. It was noisy, crowded, and full of strangers rushing past each other. Elena felt small, but Mr. Collins guided her gently. "The city can be overwhelming," he said, "but your voice will stand out even here." The choir she joined was filled with talented singers, some friendly, others competitive. Elena felt the weight of expectation pressing on her shoulders. Among the choir was a girl named Victoria. She had a strong voice and had always been the star, until Elena arrived. After rehearsal one day, Victoria confronted her. "Everyone praises you, but don't think you'll take my place." Elena, surprised, replied softly, "I didn't come to take anything. I just came to sing." Victoria scoffed. "That's what they all say before stealing the spotlight." Elena walked away, but the sting of jealousy followed her. During practice, Elena's nerves got the better of her, and she cracked a note. Some singers snickered, and Victoria smirked in satisfaction. Elena wanted to hide, but Mr. Collins stopped the session. "Elena, mistakes don't define you. Humility will. Remember, even angels fall silent before they rise again." Encouraged, Elena breathed deeply and continued. Slowly, her confidence grew stronger. 3 months later, the choir was invited to sing at the city's Grand Theater. Thousands filled the seats. Elena's knees shook as she peeked from backstage. "Can I really do this?" she whispered. Mr. Collins placed a hand on her shoulder. "Don't think of the crowd. Think of one heart in need and sing for them." When she walked on stage and opened her mouth, silence fell. Her voice carried through the hall like a tide, and people rose to their feet in awe. After the concert, reporters tried to approach Elena. One said, "The girl with the angelic voice is here." Another asked, "What's your secret?" Elena felt overwhelmed. Mr. Collins shielded her and reminded her, "Fame can be louder than music. Choose which sound you listen to." That night, Elena wrote in her diary, "I don't want to be famous. I want to be faithful." One evening, Victoria stole Elena's practice sheet and replaced it with a false one. During rehearsal, Elena sang wrong notes and the choir looked disappointed. Victoria smirked, but Mr. Collins noticed. After rehearsal, he confronted Victoria. Do not dim someone else's light just to make yours shine brighter. Victoria turned pale. Elena, however, only said, I forgive you. Her kindness disarmed Victoria more than anger ever could. After 6 months, Elena returned home for a visit. The whole town gathered in the church to hear her sing again. Samuel ran into her arms. You didn't break your promise. Elena laughed through tears. When she sang, even more people attended than before, including strangers from the city who had heard about her. Willow Creek felt proud, and Elena felt at peace, realizing her gift was not just for cities but for her roots as well. Soon after, Elena fell ill and lost her voice for several weeks. Doctors said it was temporary, but she was terrified. Sitting on her bed, she whispered hoarsely, What am I without my voice? Her mother held her hand. You are still Elena, gentle, kind, and strong. The voice is only part of you. Those words gave Elena comfort, though fear still lingered. One quiet morning, as the sun rose, Elena tried humming softly. To her surprise, a clear sound emerged. Samuel jumped with joy. You're singing again. Elena cried tears of relief. The illness had tested her patience and reminded her never to take her gift for granted. From then on, she treated every song as if it could be her last. Weeks later, Elena received a letter from a famous cathedral in another country. They wanted her to perform at their annual Christmas service, an event broadcast worldwide. Richard hesitated. It's far away. Are you ready for this, Elena? She held the letter tightly and replied, I think this is the path I've been prepared for. The whole town came to see her off at the train station. Hannah, the girl who once mocked her, approached shyly. I used to be jealous, Elena, but now I'm proud of you. Elena hugged her. Thank you. It means more than you know. With tears in her eyes, she waved goodbye as the train carried her toward her greatest stage yet. The cathedral was enormous, filled with golden light and towering walls. Elena trembled as she stepped forward. Thousands filled the pews, and millions would be watching on television. She closed her eyes and remembered her mother's words, sing for healing, not applause. When her voice rose, it echoed through the cathedral like the sound of eternity. People bowed their heads in silence, some crying, others smiling with peace. By the end, the audience stood in thunderous applause, but Elena only whispered, Thank you, Lord. After the cathedral performance, Elena's voice was carried across nations. Newspapers wrote headlines like, The Angel of Willow Creek. Invitations poured in from different countries, but Elena remembered her diary. I don't want to be famous. I want to be faithful. She carefully chose only events that brought hope, charity concerts, hospitals, and schools. To her, each note had to carry purpose, not pride. One evening in Paris, Elena stepped onto a grand stage filled with thousands. But as she sang, her voice cracked. Gasps filled the hall. Fear struck her heart. Backstage, she broke down in tears. Maybe I'm not strong enough for this, she whispered. Mr. Collins comforted her. Even great singers stumble. Your gift isn't measured by perfection, but by heart. Elena stood up, wiped her tears, and went back out, this time not to impress, but to connect. The audience gave her a standing ovation. At a small concert, Elena noticed a little girl in a wheelchair staring at her with wide eyes. After the show, the girl's mother approached her. My daughter has not spoken in 2 years, but tonight she whispered your name. Elena knelt before the child and held her hand. The girl smiled faintly. Elena left the hall that night realizing her music touched lives far deeper than applause could ever reach. Not everyone admired Elena's choices. Some promoters grew angry that she refused to sing for profit-driven events. One said coldly, You're wasting your talent. Fame doesn't last forever. Elena replied firmly, I'm not chasing fame. I'm chasing light. Her words spread quickly, inspiring many young singers to stay true to their values. While on tour, Elena received a letter from Samuel. It read, Dear Elena, I miss your voice. The house feels quiet without you. Come home soon. Tears filled her eyes. She realized that though she was singing for the world, she was also needed at home. She promised herself she would never let her journey take her away from her family completely. Elena returned to Willow Creek and organized a free open-air concert for her hometown. Thousands attended, filling the fields with lanterns and joy. Hannah and other old classmates wept as she sang. Pastor James leaned on his cane, whispering, The little girl who sang in our choir has become the voice of nations. Elena smiled humbly, because no matter how far she traveled, Willow Creek was her beginning. Despite her success, Elena struggled with loneliness. Traveling constantly, she often stayed in empty hotel rooms, staring at city lights. One night she prayed, Lord, I give people joy, but who gives it to me? The answer came not in words but in peace, reminding her that her strength came from love itself, not crowds. 1 year later, Elena was offered a permanent contract with a global music company. They promised her riches, fame, and endless tours. But she also received an offer to lead a music foundation for children in need. Her parents asked gently, Elena, what do you truly want? She sat in silence before replying, I want my voice to raise more than applause. I want it to raise lives. She declined the company and chose the foundation. With the foundation, Elena began training children from poor backgrounds. She taught them to sing, not just with skill but with heart. She told them, your voice may not reach the world, but it can reach someone who needs it. Samuel, now a teenager, joined her on stage sometimes, playing the guitar while she sang. Together, they brought joy wherever they went. Years later, Elena stood once more in Willow Creek Church, where it had all begun. The building was full, friends, family, children she had trained, and people whose lives she had touched. As she sang her final song of the night, her voice floated like a gentle river, carrying every soul in the room. When the last note ended, silence lingered before thunderous applause filled the church. Elena bowed, tears glistening in her eyes, and whispered, This is not the end, it's only the beginning of every song that lives on in others. From that day forward, Elena Evans was remembered not just as the girl with the angelic voice, but as the woman who used it to heal, inspire, and light the world.